It's trying.
Oh, it says it's streaming.
Sweet.
There we go.
Here we go. Here we go. Process, preparation, performance. I'm Duke. He's Simmons. And the guy we have on the show tonight has done some incredible things over the last couple of years, JR. And much like you and I, COVID hit, and he was trying to find something else to do with his time. Not like we're not all busy enough. We're like, well, we got like 20 minutes. So what can we do in 20 minutes, right? Coach Mitchell is here. Missouri Helmet Project. I don't know if you see the stuff he puts out on Twitter and sends out these mock-ups and everything, but I'm telling you, he made one for Breakdown Sports, JR. I sent it to my wife. My wife was impressed. She's like, "How do you get it?" And I'm like, I have no idea, but hopefully we're gonna figure some of that out tonight. I'm sitting here. It's dark. There's like 10 inches of snow on the ground outside my house, and they're predicting another, I don't know, whatever. There's no school. We're back to no school again. It seems like every time we're on this show, JR, there's no school going on.
It's snow. It's school, and I've got something I'm gonna interject here. It is not a forecast if it is 6 to 16 inches. No. Well, the new thing that I've noticed is we don't know where the storm's tracking. I can look out that window right there and tell you I don't know where the storm's tracking. That's not that hard. But I don't know what that whole process is anymore. But yeah, the last 3 of these we've done, it's been snowy, and here we are again. And I'm tired of shoveling. So I shouldn't have went and thrown about 500 BP pitches last night, because then I'm out there shoveling. I'm like, whoops. Definitely not 20 years old anymore. But yeah, I'm super excited getting Coach Mitchell on here and talking about what we're going to do here with the kind of the Missouri Helmet Project, what he's done. And then, Bill, do you want to update everybody on the clinic? That's coming up here real quick, and then we'll get rocking and rolling here.
Yeah, the clinic is on February 5th. It's this Saturday. It's here. I have a bunch of people texting me. We have people reaching out. Is the clinic still going? Because they're looking at the snow. Look, here's the way I look at this. The UPS dude showed up at my door today. Okay. He brought me a package. Yes, the clinic is on. UPS goes up. We're showing up. The hotel's ready to go. Conference rooms are ready. The speakers are confirmed, unless there's a force majeure, an act of God, JR. It's something we're on, and I can't be more excited. You got head coaches from high school, college, O-line coaches who win state titles year in and year out. You got guys who are at schools that are in the heart of the city. You have guys that are rural. You have guys that are winning perennially. It's just ridiculous. To be honest with you, JR, I don't know how we got them all. They said yes. They may regret it. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. They won't regret it. We've had a bunch of people register. Look, there's still some space left. I don't know if there's a lot, but there's still some space left. But to be honest with you, a good friend of ours, JR, texted me yesterday. He goes, "I don't want any more people to register." That's what he said. He goes, "I don't want any more people to register." He was asking me, "How many you got?" He goes, "Stop it. It's too many. We don't want any more, because you want to have this be like real tight to where it's like invitation only. And then you get time to really ask your questions versus sitting in a room at some of these bigger name clinics where there's 150 people in a room and you don't know what the hell's going on." Right.
Yeah.
So Saturday, February 5th, we're going to kick that thing off at 9:00. The last speaker will start at 4. We have strategically placed them throughout the day. Don't leave. You're going to miss a lot of stuff if you try and leave. Okay. But Saturday, February 5th, right here in JC Mo, the new courtyard by Marriott or whatever. I don't know. They got a special room rate. Call them if you want to stay over. Going to be a good time.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be there. I'm excited.
Good. Who are you coming to listen to, Coach? Who do you want to see?
Man, seeing either one of the pits, I want to see both of those guys. I'm a defensive guy, so I saw you guys released, what was it today, what the topics are going to be. Man, I'm looking forward to some cornerback play. I'm a defensive back guy myself, so I'm looking forward to that one for sure.
I picked that topic, JR. Just want you. Coach Pitt sent me 2 possibilities. He's like, "Which one?" I go, "What about this one?" He goes, "Oh, I love that. It's one of my favorites."
Yes.
I knew it.
Man, I'm all in. I might even go see some of the offensive guys though, man. I'm excited for that.
That's where it's at. No, they don't
See what they're gonna try and beat me with. All right.
just outscore everybody. That's all.
Yeah, right.
Throw it. It don't matter. But yeah, we're awful excited here tonight, and so I'm going to kind of start this with a little bit of history behind kind of our side of it. I was looking back through our tweets, and on April 24th of 2020, I just sent out something on the Breakdown Sports Twitter. It said, "Does anybody know what had happened to all the files that were in the old Missouri helmet project?" And we didn't get a response for a while. And then this guy, and I'm going to tag him in our podcast post here tonight, a guy by the name of Randy Dean. I want to make sure I get this right here. He said that the original person had gotten rid of it. Another person on Most Sports, because that was really big then, I don't know if it is now, kind of been away from that for years, had taken that over, but that guy had actually passed away several years ago. He goes, "I have no idea what had happened to it." And Randy it's kind of interesting how everything comes full circle. And from what I've been able to tell, he works up at KCHI, which is a radio station in Chillicothe. He's actually the sports director, afternoon drive host. And I just kind of let it drop, didn't know. And then Coach Mitchell here he started the whole Missouri Helmet Challenge, and this has turned into something probably way beyond you could have ever imagined before this thing called COVID existed. So why don't you kind of give us the history of how you came into this and where this is going in the future?
Yeah, man, it's kind of like how you said, man. It was started back in COVID and needed something to do. And I had seen a couple other guys that were doing helmet challenges in other states. And I'm originally actually from Illinois, and I saw a guy from Illinois that was doing it. And I was like, man, that's awesome. Somebody's got to be doing this or getting ready to do it in Missouri. So I actually shot him a message and was just like, man, what's going on? Do you know of anybody that's doing it in Missouri? And he said, no. So I picked that up and ran the Missouri Helmet Challenge during COVID. And it was something like 87 or 88 schools that submitted helmet pictures, ran it through an NCAA tournament style bracket. And man, it was a blast. It was a ton of fun. Picked up a lot of traction on Twitter. So it was really, really cool. And then that ended. And it was still just like, man, we're height of COVID. There's, nothing else to do. Bored out of my mind. I've got a few kids now. So, your hands are full with that, but you still have the downtime where it's like, man, what now? I've watched everything there is to watch on TV. I needed something. Couldn't coach at that time either. I'm in St. Louis County, so it was completely shut down. There was no coaching, no contact with the kids. So then I started digging around kind of like you did, JR. I was just trying to figure out, I had seen when I ran the Missouri Helmet Challenge, there were other states that just had like all the helmets, man. They all had helmet mock-ups. They had the database, everything that was there. So I started digging around like you did a little bit, like, hey man, does anybody do this in Missouri? And I'd seen some older mock-ups. And so I was like, okay, well, somebody was doing this at some point. So then I reached out to a couple other coaches and was just like, man, do you know if anybody else is doing this? And that's where I had found out the same thing that you did, that somebody had been doing it on Most Sports, but that he had passed away. So I kind of thought, well, I need something to do, but I had never in my entire life used Photoshop before. I had never opened Photoshop, never bought Photoshop, had no idea how to do a helmet mock-up. So I actually, through the helmet challenge, got connected with a guy in Montana who we Zoomed probably 4 or 5, 6 times. And he is awesome. He's infinitely better than I am at doing helmet mock-ups. So he kind of taught me some of the basics and taught me how to use the template. And I practiced for probably like a month or 2 before I finally launched the Twitter account. And then, man, it just kind of took off from there. And like you said, it ended up being bigger than I could have expected it to be. But at this point, man, pretty close to having just about every school in the state of Missouri. And then last year during the off season, just for fun, started poking around with doing just some concepts, just stuff that I thought would look cool. And that ended up turning into, I had, I guess, probably between 50 or 60 coaches, not even just in Missouri, but around the country, asking to do mock-ups for, stuff that they were going to do for this past season. So then that kind of turned into its own thing, and man, it's been wild, but it's been a lot of fun for sure.
It's great. I mean, just
Appreciate it.
simply put, it's awesome. We talked to you before when the challenge was going on. And
Yeah.
one of the things I was going to ask you is, do you have everybody yet? And maybe JR, we could put a little pressure on some people. They haven't sent over a picture. So Coach Mitchell, if there's anybody you want to like call out, maybe JR and I can help you get, connected with them just so that we can get a full list. How cool would that be?
Man, we're close, but I have at this point, not to say that I've thrown in the towel, but I mean, it's constantly changing because you've got coaches that, and I love it, man. I'm one of them. They're just constantly turning it out, man. A new design every single year. But I think I'm maybe 6 or 7 that I don't have anything. And then there's a few that it's one of the things that probably people, I didn't know how to use Photoshop either. So you don't realize like you can send a picture of, what your helmet looks like or something that's real grainy. But man, there's been a few where it's like, man, I'm not a miracle worker. I can't make that work. But we're pretty close, maybe 6 or 7, I think.
Jeez.
You know what this is, JR? I'll tell you exactly what this is. And it used to drive me crazy. So when I lived in Chicago, some 15, 16 years ago, and my youngest boys were playing Madden or some game, they would spend 20 minutes before the game, like just changing their uniforms, helmets, and doing all this stuff. Well, now that generation is out there coaching. That's why they're changing their helmet every day up here, right?
Yes.
Because all that stuff matters. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Here's a little secret. We get white helmets. You know why we get white helmets? Because you could get them the fastest because all these other guys are having like red flake and metallic this and metallic that. Looks really cool.
Does.
I'm just trying to get some because it's been really, really tough. And I know one team in Missouri was told last year they were not going to get their helmets until October.
Oh man. And I'll tell you, we had a couple other schools around us we had a couple extra. And I mean, it was begging, do you have extra helmets that we can borrow last year? Last year was wild, man. I hope it goes a little bit smoother this year, but it got crazy. You are right though. As a guy who coaches for a team that wears a white helmet, comes back fast. Never have to worry about a white helmet.
It's funny when you mentioned everybody's changing design. I think that's almost part of a head coach job description anymore.
Yep.
You all these other things, and it's changed the uniforms because everybody wants to change it and make it their own, which not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong, but
I know of guys that have reached out to me that are going into head coaching interviews with mock-ups ready to go. Yeah.
Wow.
They've already got it. Like that's part of their package or whatever that they bring with them to go to a head coaching interview. They've got different helmet mock-ups, uniform mock-ups ready to go, man. You're right. It is part of it.
Geez, it's just amazing to me how much everything changes. Some stay traditional and it's always been that way and that's the way it's going to be. And that's kind of is, but others go different. I mean, that little logo I got on my shirt here, that's something that everybody recognizes.
Yep. And, 100%.
It would probably take an act of God to change it. And it maybe doesn't need to be changed. But I think
it does, man. I think there's something to be said for, those traditional designs. I think what you'll see a lot of people do now, though, is just changing up small details. Maybe you take that classic JC design, but you make it chrome. Or, you come up with the bumper decals that have the team motto or something like that, where you're keeping the same design, but you're finding a way to, spruce it up a little bit. That kind of stuff. I mean, it's funny because it's crazy, but the kids go wild for it, man. They love it. So if the kids are into it and, that gets kids excited, gets kids into the program, then, hey man, there's some coaches that are pretty awesome about embracing that and that understand that. So it's cool to watch those teams, especially.
How long does it take you on average when you start from scratch to mock one of these things up?
It depends. Honestly, the biggest factor that goes into it is can I find a really good, clean image of whatever you're using for the decal? That honestly is probably like 90% of it. If it is super easy to find, Jeff City's pretty easy to find, Tips is pretty easy to find. So for those 10, 15 minutes, maybe, it's the ones where you can't find a clean image of it, or it's really grainy and it's just kind of pixelated. Man, those can take a while. Sometimes it comes down to, I just say screw it and end up recreating the logo myself. As long as it's pretty close and nobody can tell, I'll go with it. But there have been a few where I've thrown in the towel and was like, man, I can't do this. I'm going to need you to give me something better to work with. But usually on average, like I would say 10, 15 minutes. Some of the more intricate ones, your Hickman, those ones will take 30, 45 minutes maybe. If I'm coming up with the design myself, I'll spend a little bit more time on it. But like I said, it just kind of depends, but not too bad usually.
You know, the helmet decals are big, JR. Also as big are the helmet stickers you get for the plays that you make. Now,
Yes.
I never fully appreciated this because we didn't have helmet decals in high school. We were just lucky to have a damn helmet with a face mask, right? So but when I went to JR, when I went to Jeff, that thing is proudly displayed in the cabinet with one of those stickers around it and a plaque telling you what every one of those meant. So you
really,
and that means something. When we were at Blair Oakshire, it was, you put those stickers in a kid's helmet, man, they were counting them up. They were like, how many of those did you get this week? What'd you do again to get that? You know, like, oh, I gotta do that. So there was a little bit of peer pressure or self-motivation there to go get it done, which is really cool because not all of those are created equal either. We bought some this year and it was like off the rack, and I wish I wouldn't have done it because it looked like it was supposed to be a football, but you couldn't even tell it was a football.
Yeah.
To be honest. So some of the stuff that you do, Coach, with the detail that's in there, that 30 minutes for you is because you practiced a lot.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. For me, I would be like, hey, can anybody do this? Like I would have to just pass it off. But have you done any at the collegiate level too, or are you just sticking with the high school guys?
So nothing in stone yet, but I might have my first college lined up. So it is in the state of Missouri. I'll keep it at that. But no, I have not done any at the collegiate level yet, but I might be starting to work my way into that a little bit, which would be pretty cool. And that's the part that honestly, especially when I first got started, last off season doing some stuff, getting to see like one of my own designs that actually showed up on somebody's helmet, man, that was a pretty cool feeling. So if we can get that into the college ranks too, that would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I can't help but notice your hat.
Yes, sir. And I got the cup too. So I'm rocking out with 417 tonight, which is a pretty cool thing. If you guys haven't heard of it before, it's 417 Helmets. It's actually a guy from Willard, Missouri. So, he's a local guy, Missouri guy, that he started doing mini helmets. I think he said 2017. And man, you want to talk about cool stuff, man. The work that he puts out is top line, man. It's really, really awesome. So pretty cool. We are kind of in the beginning stages of kind of merging, coming together, working together. He just bought the machine to do full-size decals now. So he is branching out with 417 Helmets, and he's going to start doing decals at the high school and collegiate level. And I'm pretty excited to be partnering up with him, helping him out with some design stuff. So we're kind of in the baby stages of it right now. He's getting trained on all of the different machinery and the process of that. He's actually in Chicago right now doing that. So hopefully he makes it back sometime in the next week. I think his flight was supposed to be tonight, but I have seen the live shots of Chicago. I don't think he's coming back tonight, but I'm pretty excited for that, man. It's been really cool getting to know him, even just over the last couple of weeks. So pretty excited to be repping 417 helmets, and excited to see, where this next, kind of journey takes us. But I'm pumped, man. I'm excited for it.
It's amazing how much, and Bill and I talk about it often, everybody's lives have changed in the past 2
man.
years with what you were doing, what you thought you were going to do, and what you are doing. And, good luck to you guys. And, if
Appreciate
anybody's interested, we can definitely get them in touch with you. And
yeah, man, I appreciate that.
Get them some information. So I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yes,
They've
sir.
got a lot of helmets. Top 3 you think are the best looking helmets?
Oh, man. I think about this honestly quite a bit. Now I'm going to let you know right off the bat, I am biased, and it's ridiculous. Not even towards my own school. I love the mascot. I love Pirates as a mascot. It's just one of my all-time favorite mascot. Love Pirates. So probably, honestly, in the top 3, I mean, Hannibal's got to be up there. Hannibal's looked awesome this year. Looked really cool. Their uniforms looked really awesome too.
Clinic, Coach G.
Yeah.
That's
We'll
what I'm
get you a
saying,
picture
man.
with Coach Geschwinder.
That's what I'm saying, though. So, and the fun part about that was I knew that one was coming ahead of time too, because I had a very small part in helping them design that helmet this year.
Cool.
So again, a little bit biased. Platte County, top 3, definitely. Platte County's got like the kind of the Oklahoma State logo, but it's also merged with their pirate, and they've got the anchor stripe going down the middle. And they've got the Punisher logo too, which is really cool. It's like a special teams thing for them. So not all of their kids have it. So it's pretty slick. I like Platte County's quite a bit. Shoot, man. From there, it's so hard because there's so many of them that are good ones. Maryville, though, putting the spoof hound on the helmet this year was awesome. Absolutely loved that one. That one was pretty cool for sure. So if you're, putting me on the spot, top 3, those are definitely up there for me.
That Boonville one that was the chrome. I remember when you put that out on the helmet challenge.
Yeah.
That looked pretty good too. I was like,
Boonville's looks awesome, man. Even Branson's looks really cool. I mean, pretty, kind of typical what you would think of for a Pirates helmet with the flag and the sword, but man, it's cool. I can't get past it. Oh shoot, who else had one? There's another one that I'm forgetting about. That
just
is
popped into my head. We have all these pirates in Missouri and no ocean.
Ooh, you know what? Pattonville. Pattonville's is awesome.
Yeah, with the green.
Super cool. Yeah, they've got the flake in theirs too. Actually got to coach against them last season too, so I got to see it up close, and it's
cool.
It looks just as good in person. It's pretty cool.
And JR, for a couple of weeks at Tipton, we rolled out with plain white because we couldn't.
Did you have trouble getting your decals last season?
We couldn't get them.
Yep.
So there was a couple of weeks we rolled out there with plain white, and I know people were asking, well, when are the decals coming? And I was like, they got a helmet.
2030.
Yep.
Yeah, and the decals show up when they show up. But
I saw there were at least a few schools that I don't think they got them at all, or maybe they just got them, halfway through the season. They just decided not to use them for this year and just hang on to them for next year. But there were more than a few schools that I saw just completely blank this year. That it was rough, man. Hopefully we're past that.
Helmet decals and stickers is not going away.
No.
It's not going away. It's the generation where people were playing Madden growing up. God rest your soul, man. And this is what they were used to, changing these things up, and it's become really, really part of them. And a lot of schools, I know JC did this. We do it at Tipton. We have a whole, your dad comes and helps you put your stickers on your helmet.
So I would love to hear about how you guys do that, because I've never done it with any of the coaches, the schools that I've been a part of, but I see everybody doing it on Twitter. Man, that looks awesome. That looks really cool.
It is a good time, and it's a good time for a number of reasons. Number one, you're accomplishing a task, and to be honest with you, I'd rather have the parents help them than some of the kids try and do it themselves. Number two, the conversations that it starts and continues is above and beyond anything you can get. So basically we bring a few hair dryers and we give them some guidelines of where things have to line up,
Yep.
and how they have to be. And then we just let them go. Just go on and do your thing, and you'll be surprised. Some players don't have a dad around, or dad's deployed and mom shows up, or an uncle shows up, or grandpa shows up. And the conversations that just get going. And you would think a thing that would probably take you, like if you were doing it at home, it probably takes you 10 minutes,
Sure.
And the next thing you know, that time is being just elongated, because it's just, that's a carrier that's continuing the reaction, like in chemistry. And that process will take an hour just because they're sitting there and making sure it's right and going through it. So really, really cool. I would recommend anybody do it. It's a great time.
I definitely want to get on that, man. I think that's so cool. And like you said, getting to know, what is your player's life like at home, man? Who is that guy that shows up with the uncle? I think that's so cool. Really good opportunity to just see, another aspect of that guy's life. And that's a pretty awesome thing, man. That's cool. I'm definitely going to try and get our coach on board with that this year for sure.
Absolutely. JR, the clinic is coming, but we discovered something new again today. 417 helmets.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we'll be able to get on the list after today, Jeff. The list is going to be enormous. We're not even going to be, they won't have time for us down here.
Yeah, right. No, man, always got time.
So, Coach, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for being on.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it.
Stay warm. 417 helmets. You guys on social media yet?
Yeah. He's on Twitter. He's awesome. Does a great job there too. So look him up, 417 helmets. I think he's on Instagram too. So yeah, man, like I said, just could not be more excited about it. Just another way to keep, helping out coaches across the state. And I think it's going to be a pretty cool thing. So I'm really looking forward to it, man.
All right. Now we have to, before we leave, Jared, we have to ask one football question, because we are Breakdown Sports. He's a defensive guy. So I'm going to bring back a question, JR.
Do it.
Go ahead. You know what's coming. You and I truly believe, JR, there's only 3 ways to run the football: inside the tackles, outside the tackles, or option, which is both inside and outside. Coach Mitchell.
Yes.
Do you agree that inside, outside, and option are the only ways to run a football?
Yeah. And preferably take it outside. That's where I want you to go. If you could. You're running downhill. Hopefully I got some stuffers in the middle, but no, man, take it outside.
We're undefeated, JR.
We only had one person ever he didn't really disagree with us.
Okay, I'm interested.
And it was it Kimbom?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said quarterback sneak, that's a whole different deal.
Yeah.
So
that's inside, right?
That's fair, because our kind of contingency is, well, what other direction is there? Backwards? So
perfect.
Really nowhere else to go. But yeah, we're pretty well undefeated. We haven't been challenged on it yet too much. So.
I don't think you will.
Somebody said reverse, but
yeah,
that's outside. That was Terry. I forgot about that. A whole other conversation.
Still outside.
Somebody asked Phil Pitts this at the clinic, and I will give you $10.
All right.
So if you do that, I've known Phil a long, long time, and if somebody wants to do that, I'll do that. I'll tell Phil I told him to ask it. So
I like it.
JR, I think maybe the honorary name for the podcast, the next episode is inside, outside, or option. And
I thought you were going to go with like Snowmageddon or something.
Yeah, no kidding.
Every time we were on here, it's snowing.
We could do that
right.
too.
Next time I need a day off of work, I'll just ask you guys to do a podcast.
There you go. Perfect.
There you go. Coach Mitchell, it's been great.
Appreciate it, guys.
I love the stuff you put out. JR loves it. We're totally just kind of geeked up by it. 417 helmets, everybody, look out for them.
Yes.
They're coming. There may be some information on February 5th at the clinic about them. I'd show up and
Yeah.
grab it if you could. You want to get in and get your stuff done, because now's the time to get this stuff ordered up, because you never know
Absolutely.
what the supply chain's going to be. But it's been
Absolutely.
great. Everybody enjoy their time. Get out, hang out with your family, enjoy the moments, because school's going to start back up again soon and you're not going to have them. So for J.R. Simmons, I'm Coach Duke. That's Coach Mitchell.